Hello there, and welcome back to From the Mic Stand here upstairs at MASH. I'm Mark the Poet, and I'm going to do you a couple more of my poems. This one is a true story. It's something that happened to me in Macclesfield. It's called Narration. A man with an Alsatian on Macclesfield station, without a hesitation, gave me a publication by way of invitation for me and my relation to join his celebration of God and his creation, where we will find salvation and maybe liberation through this glorification of his imagination. After some consternation and much deliberation, I noticed his frustration at my procrastination. A bead of perspiration betrayed his irritation, but through determination and much intrepidation, he cited a quotation for my edification. Lead not into temptation, or hellfire and damnation will be your destination. So join our congregation, or give us a donation. Avoiding altercation, I patted his Alsatian and went inside the station. Despite his protestation, I bought myself a bacon butty and reached my destination, awaiting my damnation. Thank you. This is a poem I can't take 100% credit for because a lot of poets and writers, they spend a lot of time eavesdropping on other people's conversations, and I do that as well. And this one was a conversation, well, a one-sided conversation, because it was a young woman in Macclesfield on her mobile phone. And apart from sort of tweaking a few things here and there, this is pretty much what I heard. So here it goes. And I was like, and she was like, and I was like, whatever. And she turned round, and I turned round, and we turned round together. Hear what she said? You what? I said. I couldn't quite believe it. Do not, I said. Or what she said. She's not worth it, so leave it. She's full of shit. She thinks she's fit, the stuck-up bitch. She's snobby. What's up with you? Just make a brew, and don't dare call me gobby. And I was like, and she was like, and I was like, whatever. So she turned round, and I turned round, and we turned round together. Thank you.
Welcome back to From the Mic Stand here at MASH. We heard some brilliant poetry there from Mark, and we're going to have a couple more in a moment's time. So, Mark, you've been reading quite a lot of books, a lot of poetry from your book tonight. Do you want to tell us a bit about that book?
Well, I've been doing sort of performance poetry. As I said to you before, I write for performing, really. So they don't really work as well on the page. I'm not selling this very well, am I? But anyway, they don't. I don't think. But it was happening that people were coming up to me after gigs and saying, you know, where can we see your poems? And I've got a Facebook page, Mark the Poet, if anyone wants to check that out. And I usually put things. When I've written something new, I usually sort of put it on Facebook. That kind of. I have this sort of ritual where when I've sort of played around with something for a while, and I've sort of written it and rewritten it and cut bits out and added bits and so on. When it's finished, it goes on Facebook, and then I don't touch it again. Do you know what I mean? That's just my way of doing it. So once it reaches Facebook, it kind of that's it, finished. But anyway, so people kept asking me, you know, can we get? Are you going to do a book? And my dad, God bless him, actually made this for me. You know, and it's so it's homemade, but it's got some of my sort of I'd say my sort of standard ones that I do in performance. It's a bit difficult because I tend to write a lot of topical, quite political stuff a lot of the time. And the problem with writing topical things is that it becomes untopical quite quickly. So I've got poems in here about Theresa May and about Jeremy Corbyn, and you know, and can't do them anymore, unfortunately. They were good while they lasted, but anyway. So the poems that went in the book were pretty much ones that I thought sort of had some longevity. Is that the word? Longevity, but you know, it didn't. You could read them at any time, really. I think mostly. There are one or two that are sort of time specific. There's one in here about Margaret Thatcher, but you know, I think the way that people feel about Margaret Thatcher doesn't change. So anyway, so that's it. I might read that one later. Don't know.
Yeah, I have to say I've got a copy, and I can't read them without like hearing your voice. The way that you perform them when I read them. So it's obviously a great quality of the book that it can do that.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And so you were saying that you've not really performed live. Do you have any plans to perform live coming up, or any thoughts about it?
No, I'm available, Mike. I mean, you know, weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, I'm available. No, I mean, obviously, we're all hoping that things are going to go back to a bit more normality. And last night was great because we had this sort of live event here, and you know, it was the first one in a long time. So hopefully, there's going to be more of those. There's going to be more things. You know, I mean, when things were sort of before everything went off the rails and COVID happened, I would do as much as I possibly could, fitting it in around work and everything else that I do, you know. So I would do sort of gigs in Manchester and Liverpool and wherever they'll have me, really. But as everybody knows, it all sort of came to a halt in March of last year.
And have there been what have been some of your favourite places to perform at? You can't really go there now, but what have been some of your highlights?
The places I've performed.
Yeah.
Well, one of the first ones that I ever did was in Manchester. They used to do a poetry slam. I used to do a lot of poetry slams. So for people that don't know, poetry slams are like sort of competitive. People are sort of competing against each other. And usually you have people in the audience who act as judges, and sometimes they hold up scores. And we've done ones like that where they hold up a score and with numb, like, you know, the ice skating. So because that was where I started really doing poetry slams, I've always enjoyed doing those. And there used to be a regular one here in Macclesfield, but unfortunately that doesn't run anymore. But that was always a favourite. I've done some gigs in Liverpool. Now, I used to live in Liverpool years ago, and Liverpool, I mean, you know, Macclesfield's got a good sort of thriving poetry scene. Liverpool has a really good one, and so I've done some gigs there, and they always get a really good turnout, a really good atmosphere, and some really sort of high quality stuff.
Well, do you just want to remind people where they can find your book and find any future poetry from you?
Right, so if you go onto my Facebook page, Mark the Poet, and basically send me a message. If you want a copy of the book, send me a message and I'll send you one. And it's as simple as that, really. But you know, look out for you know, if anyone wants to come, and as we were saying before, you know, anyone that's not been to any live poetry events, check them out, give them a go, because you know, I think people would be pleasantly surprised, wouldn't they? I mean, I think people do, you know, when they come. I dragged my son along last night, and it was the first time that he'd been to one, because you know, I like to play the embarrassing father, and I think I do a good job of it, really. But anyway, so I dragged him along last night, and he did concede that it was good, and he was surprised at how much he enjoyed it. So.
That's great news. It's been great to have you on the show this week. I think we're going to end on a couple more poems from you.
Thanks very much.
Thank
mate.
you.
Thank you. So, as I was saying before, I tend to write a lot of topical stuff, and I haven't, so a lot of the time it sort of it becomes untopical and not as relevant. But this is a poem that's in the book that kind of can't become untopical. It can't become old news because it's a poem about yesterday's news. So it's called Yesterday's News. I'm the front page story from yesterday. I was all over your TV. I am the news that the wind blew away. Now nobody talks about me. I'm the latest casualty of rock and roll. I'm a victim of last year's flood. I'm a dangerous dog who's out of control. I am Parisian covered in blood. I'm Tyson's fury. I'm Clarkson's temper. I'm the rhino that Prince Harry cried for. I'm 9/11, a day to remember. I'm the bombing the warmongers lied for. I'm a rickety coaster at Alton Towers. I'm the shady sheikh undercover. I'm Rooney's salary. I'm Elton's flowers. I'm the voice of no Muslim brother. I'm One Direction's very last gig. I'm this year's jungle winner. I'm Cameron's ceremonial pig. I'm the food bank's Christmas dinner. I am Blyer, the liar whose pants are on fire. I am shedding my crocodile tear. I'm a referendum that went to the wire. I am Brexit, Remain, Project Fear. I'm a fanatical shooter, another dead cop, a rampaging looter. I'm Boris's mop. I'm the latest Labour leadership race. I'm a loony lefty troll. I'm a boat that's not called Mac Boatface. I'm a discredited Maury pole. I'm a Thatcherite, Blairite, Corbynista. I'm a rioter on Manchester streets. I'm a hurricane, cyclone, tsunami twister. I'm the baby washed up on the beach. I'm the front page story from yesterday. I was all over your TV. I am the news that the wind blew away. Now nobody talks about me. Thank you. And finally, this is a poem I wrote some time ago, but this never, unfortunately, becomes untopical, and it's still topical now. And I wrote it for an anthology, and I was very pleased and privileged to be included in an anthology called Overland, Oversea, and it's poems are in solidarity of refugees. And the money for that, if you look that up, Overland, Oversea, never mind this book, if you want to get a book with one of my poems in and hundreds of others by much better writers, Overland, Oversea, and it's available, I think, on Amazon. And the money, the proceeds of that go to charities that work with refugees. So have a look for that. But this poem is in it, and this is called This. This is the tyranny. This is the fear. This is the misery for those who live here. This is the hatred. This is the war. Nothing is sacred, not anymore. This is the anger. This is the pain. This is the hunger, but this is no game. This is the pestilence. This the disease. There can be no resistance from down on your knees. This is the rotten, and these are the starving, the people forgotten when it comes to the carving. These are the children fighting for rice. This is globalization, and this is the price. This is humanity at its very worst. This is insanity, and these are the cursed. This is the murder, and this is the rape. This is the fervour they try to escape. This is the boat, and this is the lorry. This is our quota, we're terribly sorry. This is your great ploy to protect your own land. This is the small boy washed up on the sand. These are the bodies left to decay. whoever your God is, he's just run away. This is your power. This is your glory. This is the hour, the end of the story. Thank you very much for listening.